switching jobs, getting promoted, and really anything to do with advancing your career, getting to a place where you love what you do and you get paid well for it takes a good deal of time and effort. But in this video, I'm going to share with you the ultimate career planning guide. This is the framework that has helped me get promoted 7 times in just over 10 years. So whatever your career goals are, you can absolutely get there with a good plan. But hey, if we're meeting for the first time, my name is Richard Walls, and I'm here to help you supercharge your career and make more money doing what you love. And if you want to learn more, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the notification bell so you get notified of when I post new content. So with that said, let's get to it. Now, what I'll be sharing is a 13-week planner that I've developed and is actually available for purchase down in the link in the description below, but it's not an issue if you don't have it. You can just as easily follow along and get a better understanding of how to think about your career and your plan. Now, we'll start by talking about the framework through which I look at career development, and that is through the 3 pillars of career success, made up of experience, education, and network. Now, experience and education combined is the value that you bring to the table. Ultimately, that value will mean different things to different organizations. If you have a ton of experience and education in philosophy, you're going to very likely not bring a ton of value to an organization that's very engineering focused. But if, say, for example, you have 10 years of manufacturing experience at Tesla and a master's degree in mechanical engineering, you're going to be highly valuable to another manufacturing company. So whatever the case is for you, you've got a certain value proposition right now. But then how do you communicate that value to the world? This is through your network. And these are the people you know, typically in a professional capacity. There's a popular saying that goes, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's partly true because jobs are far more likely to come your way if there's someone to advocate for you at the company or at the team that you're interested in going to. But here's what you don't get told. You have to be someone worth advocating for. This means you have to have a good relationship with the people in your network. And if you've worked with them previously, hopefully you've worked well with them. And it sort of comes full circle because that's ultimately where the experience and the education comes back into the equation. So your network is how your value gets broadcasted to the broader audience. Now, the goal here is to expand this network. You don't want it to be a static list of people you currently know and then you don't get to know more people. You want this list to grow, and you should leverage your existing network to meet more people. Or maybe you're new in your career, maybe you don't know a lot of people. You can leverage tools like LinkedIn to find people to connect with, or go to local meetups that are relevant to the industry that you're interested in and hopefully make some connections through that. Now, with all that in mind, you'll want to set some long-term goals and get a bit specific on where you want to go. So maybe you already have some things in mind, but if you're starting from scratch, maybe you have no idea where to even begin. One good resource that exists here in the US is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Helps you do a ton of research on industries, job functions, salaries. So make sure to check that out if you need to. And once done, let's start filling out some information for ourselves. Here we start by identifying 2 to 3 roles or job functions that you're interested in. Could be a project manager or data analyst. Then find 2 to 3 industries that you're interested in where those roles exist, like technology or transportation. Then to add another subset or another layer to that, you'll want to find or identify 2 to 3 companies that you might be interested in that are in those industries. Then comes the self-evaluation, which is really taking a look at your resume. What experience, skills, and education do you currently have? If they're closely related to where you want to go, then you'll have an easier time, obviously. But if they're not related, then you'll need to do a little bit of work to fill in those skill gaps. One way to look at this is reviewing job postings on LinkedIn or Glassdoor. Take a look at the job descriptions and what those roles say they require. And that'll give you a general idea of what they would like to see in a prospective candidate. Now you have a good idea of what you need to work on. Now, this particular planner is 13 weeks long, which is about 3 months. Obviously, you could string together multiple documents like this, but I like 13 weeks because it's short enough to give a bit of urgency to what you need to work on. But it's also long enough that you have time to make solid progress towards your goals. And that could be in the form of experience or education or growing your network and meeting more people. And this is organized by weeks, pretty much exclusively. Now, this is maybe a personal preference, but I don't have much time to be journaling or documenting everything on a day-to-day basis in great detail. The goal should be to identify a handful of activities that you can consistently do over the course of a week and over multiple weeks. And answer the question, on any given day, did I accomplish X or Y, or did I make progress? Then jot down some notes prior to the start of the week and at the end of the week. Keep it short and simple and focus on the actual work itself. So let's walk through a hypothetical scenario using my real experience and education background and talk about where I want to go. So let's say, hypothetically, I'm interested in a career in data analytics, in the transportation industry, and at United Airlines. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a different company. It could be the company that you currently are at, just in a different organization. In which case, maybe you're looking for a career change or just a promotion. But even with a promotion, you still want to think about your value proposition and how you're growing that value over time and communicating that. But nonetheless, back to the example. My background is I've got a business degree in marketing and an MBA, both from really reputable schools. And I've got a lot of experience at a major hardware technology company. Roles include merchandising, product management, business management, e-commerce. So I've got a few things going for me with an MBA and having been at a technology company. And business management also helps to a pretty good degree. Now, in data analytics, there are a lot of tools one can use to be proficient in that field. And it actually happens to be one that I'm legitimately interested, so that's actually not hypothetical. I love data. However, in terms of tools, I had only ever really used Excel and Power BI, and I'd gotten fairly good at them. But I'd done plenty of research already, and what the research told me was that there are many more tools to consider and many more tools that real data analysts and data scientists use day in and day out. Specifically, they know programming languages like SQL, R, and Python. So while I have some good experience with data and I enjoy it, I do have some pretty big knowledge gaps in the tools to use. So how do I fill those gaps? Easiest place to start is with education, and this is where the planner starts coming in. Now, when it comes to education, there are a lot of options out there, and I always have preferred online education, typically self-paced because I can do it on my own time. I could go with a number of platforms like Coursera, edX, Course Careers, Springboard. CompTIA is another organization that offers certifications, which, by the way, you can check out the links to pretty much all those platforms down in the link below, but I talk about many of them on my channel. I think they're valuable resources. They've all got courses that you can take and verified certificates you can earn. So your near-term goals are to complete some of these education pathways, and your activity every week might be to complete a module of training. And you can complete multiple modules every week and finish sooner. So we're going to start off by filling the dates here. This is all fairly flexible. It's all labeled by just weeks because you can start this whenever you want. I prefer my weeks to start on Sundays. So in this case, the week that I'm recording this video, the start of, well, the most recent Sunday was October 8th. That's going to go into October 14th. So really we're looking at Sunday to Saturday. And this is actually how this is all labeled here. If you can see all of this and the checkboxes associated with those dates. So filling out the weekly goals, let's just keep this simple. One goal is begin learning Python. And there's a course on Coursera that's very popular. It's called Python for Everybody. And in this case, the weekly goal would be to complete Module 1 on Coursera on that course. And then we go into habits. And the way that this is labeled is you've got categories and activities, and you've got the days of the week. The categories refer to the 3 pillars of career success, which is experience, education, and network. And in this case, I've got it listed as learning, but let me just go ahead and put education. And within education, I have a handful of different activities. And when it comes to online learning, again, it's all really self-paced. So my activities here may be to watch course videos, complete the quiz associated with that module, and complete the assignment that's associated with that module. You can really customize this any way that you want. You can even go as far as to say complete module 1. And especially if you're wanting to complete multiple modules a week, maybe that's your goal. Maybe it's to complete module 1 and 2. And then your activity might change a little bit depending on how you want to organize that. So one activity could be complete module 1, which means watch all the course videos, complete the quiz, complete the assignment. And then second activity is complete module 2, which is, again, all those things. But then on top of that, I mentioned there's experience. There's also the networking component of it. So you really want to start networking as soon as possible. So let me go ahead and type in a few things here. So here we've got the category for network. And the activity here that I've listed is set up a one-on-one call with a data analyst. And so this may be someone that I already know. It may be someone that I've seen on LinkedIn at the company that maybe I'm interested in. And I left it a little bit generic because I want this to be something that I can repeat week in and week out. So basically, if I went to week 2, which is blank right now, I could copy and paste a lot of this stuff, a lot of the activities. I want to be able to complete these sets of activities each and every single week because I want to build a habit. Now, what you can do after any given week is once the week is over or as you're going through each day is you can start marking things down for completion. So let's say on Sunday, I watched my course videos and then I actually went ahead and completed the quiz that same day. But it wasn't until Tuesday that I got around to completing the assignment. And when it comes to networking, maybe I set up a call on Thursday. So that's my week 1. This is what happened. And at the end of the week, this is where I go down to, what are the takeaways? What are the achievements or learnings, the milestones? And this is where I can go back and review. If I were to set up a call with a data analyst, who was that with? And then here I can write that down. So I've went ahead and filled out basically the takeaways, completed module 1 of Python for Everybody, had a conversation with Steve about his role at United Airlines as a data analyst. And maybe I could write some additional things down about what I learned. And then I was recommended to meet with Rebecca. Phone number is this, and now I can add that. There's a section in here for networks. It's kind of like a list of folks that you can meet with. And this is really, again, your note section. You can recap the week for yourself and keep track of things. And so the idea here really is you copy a lot of these activities and they should stay fairly consistent on a week-to-week basis, but they also might evolve a little bit. So at some point, maybe I've completed all this education stuff. Maybe now I spend a little bit more time on the experience side of things. So in that case, that may come in the form of working on projects. And then I have now different goals that over the course of a number of weeks, I can track towards. So now let's say we go to week 7, weekly goal here is to gain practical experience and maybe complete a project. As far as habits go, I may still decide to include a lot of education, continue the networking, but now I'm adding experience. And experience here would be, or rather the activity would be spend an hour on a Kaggle project. For those of you that don't know, Kaggle is a site dedicated to data enthusiasts. So there's a lot of projects that you can complete on there, get really hands-on experience and things that you can build out and create a portfolio from. So a lot of these projects can take a good amount of time. So you may decide to organize this in such a way to where, the way I have it here is I'm going to spend an hour on this Kaggle project, whatever it might be. So that way I can say, okay, I completed about an hour's worth of work on Sunday and then an hour's worth on Tuesday and Thursday and Friday. So that's one way to look at it. You can, again, approach this in any way that you want. This is just one recommendation. Now, as you go about completing all these weeks, your goals, at least your long-term goal, should stay about the same. Your weekly goals should stay mostly the same, but they will evolve over time. There are certain categories or certain activities that are going to take precedence at different points in time over a 13-week period. But again, the whole goal is to be consistent with these activities. Document the days where you are completing these activities so that you stay on track, so that it doesn't get left behind. And this, by the way, doesn't take really much time at all to fill out, because once you've established your weekly goals, which again shouldn't be terribly complicated, and at the beginning of the week you set up your categories and your activities, then it's kind of smooth sailing from there. Then it's a matter of every day you go in there and you check the box. And maybe you can even start documenting some of your learnings and your achievements as they come along, or you can just simply wait till the end of the week to do that. But consider this section your notes section. And as you complete the 13 weeks worth of work and learning and networking, one of two things can happen. One is you happen to land a job in the industry or the company that you want to be in. You find your dream role at some point within that 13 weeks, which would be fantastic. But the other thing that can happen too is, well, not that, but you start another 13-week period. Now your value proposition is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be better. It's going to be more closely aligned to what you want to do with your career or the place you want to be. And therein lies the value of this planner, because now you can start again and set up new goals. And maybe you've learned a lot. Maybe you've got a lot of hands-on experience. And now you really want to focus on just the networking. Because again, you can have a phenomenal value proposition, but if no one knows about it, it's not going to serve you very well. So maybe you spend the next 13 weeks spending more time on the networking piece, maybe a little bit less on education. Now, if you happen to have this planner, it's going to make it very easy for you to organize everything and to document your journey. But if you don't, you at least have an idea of how to think about your career, how to think about your value proposition, your network, and how to think about getting closer to your goals with building good habits, having consistency in the activities that you do. So folks, hope this video helps. If you want to learn more about career development, again, make sure to subscribe to the channel and check out some of my videos where I talk about some of these online learning platforms. You can check out those videos right here. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you around.